Now we'll be discussing exemption relation to retrenchment compensation. So in case the workers are retrenched, they are removed from the organization, then they are given a retrenchment compensation. So here the retrenchment compensation received by an assessee, the same will be exempt from tax to the extent of the least of the following. The amount which is say actually received. Actual amount received. One is the actual amount received. Maximum exemption which you can get is rupees 5 lakhs. Maximum exemption is rupees 5 lakhs. And an amount calculated in accordance with section 25FB of the Industrial Disputes Act 1947. That is 15 days average pay for every completed year of service or part thereof in excess of 6 months. So here in case of monthly wages are given, we have to take average for 3 completed months. If weekly wages are given, we have to take average for 4 completed weeks. And if daily wages are given, we have to take average for 12 working days as per the section 25FB of the Industrial Disputes Act 1947. So this way we have to work out the exemption. One is the actual amount received, the other one is rupees 5 lakhs, and one is the amount which is calculated in accordance with section 25FB of the Industrial Disputes Act 1947. That is 15 days average pay for every completed year of service or part thereof in excess of 6 months. Now one question is there. Mr. Govind received retrenchment compensation of rupees 10 lakhs. He has received the retrenchment compensation of 10 lakh rupees, and after 30 years and 4 months service, it is here completed year of service or part thereof in excess of 6 months is to be taken. So here completed year of service is what? 30. And his salary at the time of retirement, basic salary was 20,000 per month and DNS allowance was 5,000 per month. Now here we will be taking that, we will be working out the average salary. So average salary, it also works out 3 months, 3 completed months, average salary is 25,000 rupees. So least of the following amount is exempt. Now it is number 1 is 15 days average pay into completed year of service. Into what? Completed year of service. It is 15 upon 26 into average monthly salary is 25,000 into completed year of service is 30. It's 30. So this amount works out to be how much? 25,000 into 15 into 30 divided by 26. That is 4 lakh 32,692. Number 2 is rupees 5 lakhs. And number 3 is, the retrenchment compensation received. Here retrenchment compensation received is 10 lakh rupees. So the least of the following amount is exempt. So out of 10 lakh rupees, 432,692 will be exempt, and taxable amount will be 567,308. 308, sorry. 567,308 will be the taxable retrenchment compensation. Okay. Next question, that next discussion will be about the VRS compensation. Voluntary Retirement Scheme. Scheme compensation. VRS compensation. That is section 1010C. 1010C. VRS compensation. Here also, the maximum amount of exemption is rupees 5 lakhs. In VRS compensation also, the maximum amount of exemption is rupees 5 lakhs. So section 1010C grants exemption to the employees who are in receipt of voluntary retirement subject to these following conditions. Here, eligible employees of public sector company, any other company, authorities which are established under the Central, State or Provincial Act, local authority, cooperative society, universities which have been established under the Central, State or Provincial Act, or any institute which is declared to be a university under UGC, Indian Institute of Technology, Indian Institute of Management, and central government, state government, and institution having importance throughout India, say in any state as the central government say notifies. So all the persons are covered basically. It is a public sector companies covered, any other companies covered, statutory corporations are covered, local authorities are covered, cooperatives are covered, universities are covered, IITs, IIMs, central and state government, all the undertakings, they are covered, and their employees basically are getting the benefit of the exemption in respect of the voluntary retirement scheme or voluntary separation scheme. So here the amount of exemption is the actual amount received or rupees 5 lakhs, whichever is say less. The actual amount received or rupees 5 lakhs, which is less. Now, what are the basic guidelines? So the exemption of rupees 5 lakhs will be available if VRS compensation is received, if VRS compensation is received in accordance with scheme framed by central government in this regard. Now, what are the basic guidelines to claim exemption? Guidelines for claiming exemption. So here this VRS scheme, it applies to an employee who has completed 10 years of service or say 40 years of age. He has completed 10 years of service or 40 years of age. So the scheme must apply to an employee who has completed 10 years of service or say 40 years of age, which I will say earlier. Then this condition is not applicable, 10 years of service or 40 years of age is not applicable to the employees of the public sector company. It's not applicable to the employees of the public sector company. Then it applies to all the employees, including workers and executives, except directors of the company or cooperative society. So this VRS scheme, it applies to all the employees, including the workers as well as the executives. But the same is not applicable to the directors of the company or cooperative society. Then this scheme, why this scheme has been framed? This scheme has been framed to reduce the existing strength of the employees. Such a scheme is aimed to reduce the existing strength of the employees. The scheme is aimed to reduce the existing strength of the employees, and the vacancy caused by the voluntary retirement. We have made the vacancy. The same is not to be filled up again. That employee who has taken voluntary retirement will not be employed in any other organization belonging to the same management. So the vacancy must not be filled up again. Neither the retiring employee must be employed in a concern belonging to the same management. So here this VRS scheme has been drawn for reduction in the overall strength of the employees, and the vacancy caused by the voluntary retirement, the same is not filled up again, and neither the retiring employees employed in a concern belonging to the same management. Now the exemption amount, the VRS compensation amount must not exceed higher of the following limits. Higher of the following limits. Number one is 3 months salary for every completed year of service. It is 3 months salary for every completed year of service, and here salary last drawn is to be taken. So say if employee has joined the organization at the age of 21 years and takes VRS at the age of say 50 years, he has completed 29 years of service. So 3 months salary for every completed year, 29 years he has completed, or balance of months of service left prior to his retirement. If normal age is 60 years, so balance of months of service left is 10 years. That is 10 into 12, 120 months into salary at the time of retirement. That is balance of months of service left into salary at the time of retirement. So here, quantum of the amount receivable must not exceed the higher of the following limits. That is what 3 months salary for every completed year of service, or say salary last drawn into balance of months of service left prior to his retirement or superannuation. And here also salary means what? Basic salary plus DNS allowance to the extent it forms part of retirement benefits, plus what? Percentage wise commission of the turnover achieved. Salary means what? The basic salary, DNS allowance to the extent it forms part of retirement benefits, plus percentage wise fixed commission on the turnover. Then here the exemption is allowed only once. So if an exemption has been allowed to an employee under the assessment year, under this section in any assessment year, then no exemption shall be allowed to him in relation to any other assessment year. So VRS compensation exemption will be allowed only once. And where any relief has been allowed to an assessee under section 89 for any assessment year, it's claimed a relief under 89 in respect of the amount received or receivable on his voluntary retirement or termination or voluntary separation, then he won't be getting exemption in relation to VRS for the same or any other assessment year. Thus, relief under 89 and exemption under this section cannot be availed simultaneously. And in case if you claim the right of the relief Once relief is claimed under 89, then this exemption in respect of VRS compensation is lost forever. So if you claim exemption, then you cannot claim exemption again for any other assessment year. And if you claim relief under 89, then you won't be able to claim the exemption subsequently as well as for that assessment year. Now we will discuss one question. R is employed in a public company and is paid a sum of rupees 6 lakhs on voluntary retirement scheme. Compensation he has received is rupees 6 lakhs. The normal age of retirement is 60 years. Normal retirement age is 60 years. VRS taken at age of 45 years, and completed year of service is 20 years. Completed year of service is what? 20 years. And they have provided the information about the basic salary, 10,000 per month, DA 6,000 per month, 50% is forming the part of retirement benefit, HRA and conveyance allowance. What is the amount of compensation taxable? So here the maximum limit of VRS compensation is what? 3 months salary for every completed year of service. Into salary last drawn. So here salary is 10,000 rupees per month, DA is 3,000 into 3 into completed year of service is 20. So 13,000 into 60, that is 7,80,000. One is this. Other one is balance of months of service left at the time of his retirement. So it is 15 months services left because he has retired at the age of 45, and 60 is the normal retirement age. 15 years into 12, that is number of months of service left, into salary at the time of retirement. Salary is 13,000 rupees. So it is 13,000 into 180, 23 lakh and 40,000 rupees. Since VRS compensation does not exceed rupees 23,40,000, hence exemption of rupees 5 lakhs is admissible. Here exemption of rupees 5 lakh will be admissible. So compensation received is how much? 6 lakhs less exempt 5 lakhs, taxable compensation is 1 lakh rupees. So they are asking how much of the amount of compensation is taxable. Here 1 lakh rupees will be taxable. So this we have discussed about, say, VRS exemption. One section 1010 CC is also there. Section 1010 CC which provides that if any tax on non-monetary perquisites of the employee is paid by the employer if tax on non-monetary perquisites of the employee is paid by the employer, the same shall be exempt in hands of the employee. The same will be exempt in hands of the employee. So, for example, if the non-monetary perquisites are 10 lakh rupees, these are non-monetary perquisites, and employer paid tax, say amounting to 1,17,000 in respect of the non-monetary perquisites. He has paid this tax. So the tax so paid shall be exempt under section 1010 CC. Hence, no grossing up will be required. Otherwise, if a tax is paid by the employer on behalf of employee, that is a perquisite. But if on non-monetary perquisite, if the employer pays such tax, then it will be what? Exempt from tax under section 1010 CC. That has been provided in section 1010 CC. In other case, if he pays the tax, it is regarded as a perquisite. Therefore, here, no grossing up will be required. No grossing up will be required, and employee will get a credit. Employee will get credit of the tax so paid. Employee will get a credit of the tax so paid. So fundamentally, this way, the tax on non-monetary perquisites of the employee is what? Exempt in hands of the employee. However, employer will not get any deduction under section 40A 5 in respect of the tax so paid while computing his income under the head profits and gains of business and profession. Employer won't be getting any deduction of the tax so paid while computing his income under the head profits and gains of business and profession. Now in our next lecture, we will be discussing about the tax treatment of the provident fund, superannuation funds, etc.